Hi everyone, this is Sam from Gamereactor here live in Birmingham. We're looking at Stable Orbit, which tasks you with creating your own space creations. Can you tell us a bit more about the game?
So essentially the high-level pitch for Stable Orbit is SimCity in space. So you initially start off with your basic sort of core module and you're kind of relying on bringing things from Earth to space. And you want to get to ideally a point where you're almost self-sufficient in space.
How much detail has the game gone into in terms of the level of space equipment you could attach to your modules and how much you could develop that and everything?
So it's kind of pretty much basic at the very start of the game. So you kind of like you build up a basic laboratory so you can start doing research and earn money that way. But then like kind of further off you get down the line, you have to build your own harponics systems, kind of grow your own food in space. If you have like a really massive space station, you have to have additional kind of thrusters to keep your thing in orbit. So you can go pretty crazy.
And sort of, where does the game see you go in terms of the experience? Do you explore space and everything, or what do you do in the game? So how is it?
So initially, the game's kind of set in almost like a version of 2034, kind of set 5 years after the ISS, the International Space Station, is due to be deorbited, and you are almost tasked with creating the next space station. So initially, you're just kind of creating kind of almost like the next International Space Station, but the sort of the level you can take it, and you can make it as big or as small as you want, or kind of compact. Because the way the International Space Station was built is lots of different parts are basically kind of almost glued together. So you're going to do a very similar thing here. You're basically just adding different components onto this space station, kind of making it as crazy or constructive as you want.
What kind of variety could fans expect from the modules you could attach to your own space station?
So initially, kind of the early access build of the game, which is coming in mid-October, is going to be almost quite similar, quite basic. But they've got crazier research you can do. You can unlock different crazy modules, and working with the community as well and the consumers, and see what sort of modules that they want, or see what directions they want to take it in. Kind of will dictate exactly where the game's going to go.
And what are the plans for the future? Are you just seeing what fans like and then polishing out, to keep in terms of development, are you just going to keep polishing out bugs and everything and listening to fans?
Yes, of course. So the developer Jim, he's got lots of different ideas about where he wants the game to go, and wants to incorporate that, and kind of taking a SimCity in space analogy further. So you might kind of come across disasters, or if you might make a mistake, you have almost like a Forza rewind system in the game. So and you need to be prepared for that system. So for one example, for a disaster is you might encounter a random meteor shower and you're just not prepared for it at all. So you can almost rewind for a couple of weeks before and go, right, okay, now I know that meteor shower is coming. How can I prepare for that?
In terms of visuals, the game looks very stunning in terms of the planet and the space station and everything. How important was that for you when creating this game?
I should say, I didn't create the game, but the actual all the textures and stuff are all kind of placeholder at the moment. So there's almost like kind of putting the things together to see what works and what doesn't in terms of mechanics. But all the kind of graphics are just kind of placeholder. But it's all built in Unity and actually all designed by one guy who was the lead PC programmer on games like Deus Ex Human Revolution and Tomb Raider. And he's decided to go indie and just do everything by himself. But kind of keeping it visually stunning, kind of visually interesting, but kind of keep the kind of mechanics very simple. That was kind of very key for kind of developing the game.
And how long has it been in development for?
I think about 8-9 months or so, maybe a bit less. I can't exactly recall.
Oh, sure. It's not very similar to a lot of games. So how has the feedback been when you've been showing it here?
So I think a lot of people initially, when they start hearing the concept of the game of just like you're building your own space station, they think, well, they automatically go to like Kerbal Space Program, which is like you are doing the entire space station thing. You're building your rocket, you're sending it into space, you're trying to do orbits and things like that. You need a degree in rocket science to actually play the game. This is a bit simpler in terms of your goal is you're building a space station, you're just doing that, and the sort of mechanics of it are a bit simple to. It's all kind of based on a mouse. You don't need to kind of program anything. You're just kind of clicking and adding modules. It's fairly simple. But if the kind of community wants to go more hardcore, I'm sure that's the direction we could go in.
So accessibility at the moment is a key feature of the game.
Oh, exactly. Because SimCity is one of those games that was very easy for a lot of people to pick up, and it's kind of like taking that and putting it into a very specific kind of space station scenario. That's the goal.
So you're launching in early access soon.
Yep.
When do you plan on launching the full game?
So again, kind of dictated exactly what the community want, but ideally probably about 8 to 9 months after the early access launch.
And on what platforms?
PC.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.